Hello everyone, good time of the day. I'm Sidival, and today we're gonna continue reading World and Economica, episode 1. And there is actually a chance that I misjudged um, how much it left for us to read from this episode. So there is a chance that we actually gonna finish today, um, but we'll see. If we're gonna able to finish, then it gonna mean what on Saturday we're gonna continue reading uh, Tiny Snow. Mm, so yeah. So, what do we read before? So, um, so as we remember, Hana and Hagana didn't win contest. They only take second place. After which they talk with Seraut and Loan Collector, and they actually explain about everything with what's going on with credits and loans, and apparently there is some bad people or bad company what trying to um, get land from people who lived in this outer ring, um, and because of that they actually get them in loan, in which they actually this point I don't completely understood. Is it was a plan from the start or not? Because from what we know before, there was some really good and rich guy who actually allowed Tayama giving money even if it wasn't guaranteed what they won't be, if this money gonna be repaid. Um, but from what we know, then we died, and this contracts loans was bought by someone else. So I still, and because of that, I'm still not sure if if it was true, if this first stage guy actually just was a good guy, or if it was planned from the start or not, because it's kinda seems a little bit sketchy here. But I guess it's not super important. What important? What now they need to return all of the money. Otherwise, they gonna lost their houses. I mean, I guess they gonna lose them anyway, because there is some sort of uh, I don't know, rebuilding is going on or something. So there is gonna be built new houses here, but if they don't still gonna have these houses before it gonna be time, at least they gonna get help from the city. But if they not gonna pay loans, they don't gonna get anything. And so because of that, now they trust in Hagana and Haru to make money for them through stock market, or actually repaying. So, and what it was on last stream, unfortunately, since there is not really a long deadline for this stuff for gathering money, from what we know, for now Hagana and Haru wasn't able to gather enough money, um, which means they have a problem. But last episode was ended in the point then Haru was going to talk with Barton, and I guess he probably gonna ask advice from him or something like this. I mean, I guess he can just ask for money, but I'm not sure if he gonna do something like this. But yeah, let's continue reading. So, Haru going meeting with Barton. Outside, twilight was falling. The real action was about to happen in Newton City. I opened the computer and sent a mail off to Barton. Can you meet up? Immediately, a response came. Certainly I can. Let's meet at the Royal Central Hotel. I closed the computer and tossed it in my bag. And then, mastering what little strength I had, I ran at full tilt through the night-filled town. I ran through the dazzling nightscapes of Newton City. From their perspective, redeveloping the poor districts probably meant nothing to them. 80,000, 100,000 moles, that was something you could deal with. If you were foolish enough to be ruined by losing that much, you didn't belong on the moon in the first place. That's what I thought in the beginning. But living in Lisa's church and training alongside Hagana, there was something that I came to understand. The connection between ours won't change because of money. In the case of lying on in the case of lying on Lisa's laps, if I could have that for 50,000 moles, I might have paid. If that were the case, what about that night when Hagana listened to me talk about my dream while I held her hand under the cars? How much was that worth? Once Hagana could only see me as a trash, showing no hope or much of anything. Showing no hope or much of anything in her facial expressions. Now she come to showing me her smile. How much was that? And then, thinking about Hagana, I imagined that it was the same for the people of the town and their families. Chris and her father were the same. Though in the end I hadn't seen Chris more even once. I'd imagine it would be an ordinary one-episode story that I didn't care to hear about. I ran through Newton City. I ran through the moon's richest area, being pulled along by the threads of fortune. One big trade is pulled along by a different trade, which then takes me from a which then takes the form of big profits. That was the last thing I aimed at in the investment contest. And if that manifests in the marketplace, then naturally it should happen in reality too. All of it was how people carried out their lives, how people are influenced. So all the good fortune I'd encountered was being pulled along by a different bit of luck that I believed in as I headed towards it. The Royal Central Hotel, a super high-level hotel that cost at least 1,000 moons a night. From the limousines at the front entrance, important government figures and the wealthy and their bodyguards streamed through, probably since it was the weekend. This was the third time I came here. I wasn't even nervous, and the doorman recognized me. He flashed a friendly smile towards me as he opened the door. Without straying, I headed towards the cafe. The people who recognized me smiled as they led me there. Barton had his interest in me. He had his interest in my abilities. If so, then something should be possible. Something should be possible. Be firm in readiness. Do not waver. Soon, I stood before Barton. So yeah, I completely forgot, but they actually already had a plan. They wanted to do the same thing what we tried to pull off in contest. even if it didn't work for them. Hmm. But I still believe they wanted to ask something from Barton. Anyway, as usual, he sat comfortably at a chair, and today he was reading a real old-fashioned book. I paused for the short notice. Hmm, don't worry. It just so happened that my schedule was free. Barton spoke as he placed a bookmark in the book and looked at me. By the way, on these spreads, Barton kinda always looked kinda, I don't know, evil or at least scary. Barton's expression was firm as he looked at me, which was probably how it always was each time. You look frightened. I have a favor to ask. Barton offered me a chair, but I remained standing as I spoke. I would like you to invest in me. Oh, interesting. Okay. To be honest, I'm seeing this phrase in the titles when I search for videos for trying to figure out how much it left for us to read. But for some reason, I was thinking it so many it's Barton actually said it for Haru. Uh, I mean, I imagine something like if Haru gonna ask her what in what he should invest or something, and Barton gonna say this phrase. But I guess I was wrong, and it's really interesting to know of the event. Hmm. Invest. Barton repeated that as he once again offered me a chair. Well, first take a seat. As you are right now, this isn't a negotiation, but a entreaty. He grinned broadly as he offered me a chair. For the third time, I sat down, and after Barton rang a bell, a waiter came out. Would you like some Irish coffee? Cough. As I started to say coffee, I corrected myself. Hot cocoa. These last few days, I would drink it alongside Hagana. As you wish. Not boring with something as uh, inelegant as writing it down, he bowed once and stepped away. Barton sighed deeply and leaned back in his chair. A small amount of silence fell. I spoke. I would like you to invest in me. Hmm, interesting. I believe it's um first time that we listened for this soundtrack. Host. Hmm. Maybe I just don't remember. But at least I don't remember yeah, it being here in previous times when he visited this cafe. I mean, hotel. Hmm. But okay. Hmm. Barton said that as he looked at me. Compared to the first time I saw him, his facial expression was intense. Invest in you. Is what you said is it not? Sorry. Invest in you. Is what you said, is it not? In that case, if that is the case, then rather than as the headhunter Barton Gladweizen, I will have to look at this from the perspective of Barton Gladweizen, representative of the Britannica. It almost felt as if Barton's body swelled inside. It was the overpowering feeling given off by influential person. I felt as if I'd be blown away if I didn't plant my feet firmly. He will be able to turn a profit for me. A greedy loan shark taking away the last move from a poor man. Something like that would be no match for Barton's intensity. With large sums of money invested, this is an overwhelming ambition that only those who earn great deals of money could dare to have. When you're really wealthy, people bow their heads to you unconditionally. I gritted my teeth, then spoke. Permission to speak? Of course. I took a deep breath, then I spoke. I would like to borrow 300,000 moons. Barton raised an eyebrow at this. 300,000 moves. Well, that is. Barton started to say, but chortled lightly. Excuse me. Well, that is a surprising amount of money. Must be a joke. A Preston. The annual interest rate is 20%, and the expected maturation date. If you are able to wait 10 years, then I will return it by then. Hmm? If the annual rate is uh, 20%, after 10 years it will be multiply 5 times and became 900,000 moles. But where the earth, there are a scattering of white-collar workers who earn about that much over their lifetimes. Does the Britannica consider such earnings to be on the low end of the scale? At my words, Barton mouth curved very slightly into the shape of a smile. Yeah, not bad. As Barton laughed, the drinks arrived. The cacao is his. Barton gestured towards me politely, and hot cacao was placed before me. Please enjoy. Ah. Barton raised his hand, and the waiter stood back. Barton reached into his coat, pulled out a small bottle of alcohol from his breast pocket, and poured the content into his coffee cup. For times like this, you need alcohol for a bit more of a kick. He said it in a mischievous manner. After pouring out half the bottle contents, Barton looked at the cup, then spoke. After 10 years, you will make 900,000 moves and become an impressive manager at the Britannica. Then, or possibly independently. I stuck to my guns for the sake of doing so. But as much as I stuck to my guns, Barton's action became sluggish. Well, in asking you to join me, a lesser individual suggesting 900,000 moves would be rather shocking and perhaps hard to imagine. In that case, but why 300,000 moves? I doubt you're going to use it to buy licorice or something. This wasn't a small change. To Barton it was a meaningless sum of money, but it wasn't small change. I read it I read myself and spoke. With that money, a lot of people can be saved. Ha! Barton breathed in and laughed. His large frame shook all over as he laughed. For the people of Schillinger Street, this was what you called an act of mercy. Of course, he would laugh. However, the gratitude you get could be sold later for much more. At my words, Barton's laughter stopped immediately. Oh, for various reasons, right now, I'm in possession of the government funds from a lot of people. Those people borrowed money from someone else, so these funds are all they have for the sake of paying off whose debts. But it isn't enough to pay it off. So my intention is to gather funds to foregrow that amount. Very wise. He said that in almost a ridiculous manner. Also, the lender whose people received money from had borrowed money from someone else, and the origin of all that are unable of land speculators. Hmm? Barton's face became serious. And then, and then, apparently the place we live in has became a target for a redevelopment project. The borrowers, the borrowers built their own homes and live there holding the rights to the land. That is why, if this redevelopment project goes underway, they want to hold out until the government reimburses them, as the properties will become very valuable. Valuable. Mm. By the way, I guess it wasn't necessary for me to explain for Tank and explain it on the start of the stream. But okay, at least now we know what I remember everything correctly. But if the collectors come, they will take everything, leaving nothing. Plus, that 300,000 moons I wish to borrow, an investment, right? Warren corrected me, but there was a kindness in it. Warren looked at me quietly. After a development, that 300,000 moons investment will change our and weaken the depth of gratitude from the many people who hold this land's right. And that would be greater than Sorry, and that would be greater than annual rate of 20%, you say. Correct. And my words button let out a slight groan. So, that's what you mean. What do you think? Asked once more. I got a response. Barton is not the sort of who wouldn't understand this. In terms of gain and loss, without a doubt, these would be gains. Barton sipped down the Irish coffee he'd piked for a bit, held it to his lips, and drank it down. The words that came out were not what I would expect after drinking hot coffee. They were cold as ice. I must decline. Hmm, interesting. I was dumbfounded, and for a number of seconds I couldn't respond to it. Why not? At my outburst, Barton frowned and put the cup down. It's a problem in how one lives. Barton said. Perhaps he was saying that it would just be best to let people in trouble ruin themselves instead. I don't want you to misunderstand me. If I could, I would try to offer assistance. In that case, but I am Barton Cladwisen of the Britannica. The investment funds I've handled number in the several tens of billions of moles. It is not money on a global scale, but a fair amount. And whose the present pressure is high. On top of that, performance is expected. I don't know what he is talking about. But Barton had a zeal that couldn't keep me silent. I must be a true investor. If that is not the case, then I cannot serve in this capacity. Plus, it is a problem in how one lives. But mm, what you intended to do must appear to be noble and right in your mind. Your report card would have a positive mark on it. However, Barton seemed to be lamenting the unreasonable principles of society as he said that. This is the kind of work of a drab branch in a drab bank. I had no words to counter with. Barton paid little need to my exposed, dumbfounded expression as he quietly looked at the cup in his hand and continued. I once said that it is a bad line of work. I don't think that it is a waste of time either. However, in doing something tepid like that, in just an instant it will come falling down. The place I am in is like that. Think about it. How much do you imagine it costs for all of us to live on the moon? It pales in comparison with the developed nations on Earth. Plus, I must decline. That is not an investment for me. It is not an investment for me at all. That is uh second. I don't know this word. Hmm. I actually feel like I'm already Googled, but I guess at least I don't remember. Hmm. Said it succinctly. I have heard it before then when one goes about investing in large sum of money, they shouldn't let emotion control them. If a still resolve and ironclad balls, and if the universe were to implode, an investment's performance must always hold steady. Warner was the incarnation of all that. Besides, if you aim to reach Schrodinger Street, you should have that kind of volition. An investor must consider the best possible investment, the best possible conditions, the best possible interval at all times. These are the words of the sole person I hold respect for, Mr. Infallible. He was a beast with personal assets of 80 billion smooths. Compared to him, I felt small enough to be crushed by him. So, if you think that you can sorry. So, if you think you can save these people, then take on this challenge as an investor. Time. There isn't enough time. I look at the steam from cacao as I said that. There was only one day left. Only one day left. I have 720,000 moves in funds. At the end of Monday, I need to reach 1 million moves at all costs. At the very least, I'd be fine with 900,000 moves. But it's not possible. And if I desperately stack on as much profit as possible, 10% is the ceiling. So I raised my face and looked at Barton. I did not want to admit that my vision was blurred because I had been crying. So, yet Barton's tone was icy cold. Investor. A successful investor is a pro among pros. An obvious concept such as helping someone in trouble, leaving them indebted to you, was not something that he would agree with. I hung my head in shame, having nothing to left to say. It was impossible. I was naive to think otherwise. Impossible? Is that so? And that's what Barton said. Desperately stacked on profits? Only 10%? Come on now. Since when did you lower yourself to that of Quant Stodge? I raised my head and saw that Barton's angered face was scowling at me. I said the last decision you made during the investment contest. It was rather impressive. That was, that was it. That was the essence of a trader. With each move, one by one, your thinking became clear. It gave me shivers as I recalled my younger days. A failure. It's only a failure. A failure. But there are bets that one should continue to make. That is it. It brought back memories of the times I've been beaten by my father as he lectured me. It really was a mysterious as to why I would remember him now, of all possible times. Besides, besides, if you don't have enough time, then you just need to find a shortcut. Huh? Barton sipped on his coffee. The time I took you around and explained to you my investment techniques, do you remember that I said? I dug deep into the crevice of my mind. I had the confidence to have memorized it all. Yes, in that case, that's right. The building that we went to see. Do you remember the name of the company on that building? I don't know why he asked that question, but I answered it immediately. Ring Tech. Huh? And then he suddenly raised his voice, hysterically. Whoa now. Are you alright? Eh, yeah? Ring Tech is a fine company, but the company we saw was a different one. Was it not? But what was it? I can't quite remember. Wait a moment. Hmm? As Barton said that, he rummaged through his coat and pulled out a small terminal. And then he tapped the screen and it started up. Oh yes, this. Now I remember. Here it is. Here. Place the small terminal on top of the table. There is displayed the electronic data of that company. Come on, hang in there. I bought you at a high price. At a high price after all. Hmm? Barton looked at me as I picked up the terminal and smirked as he laughed. Ah, but... Well then. The smell of alcohol has gotten me hungry. Barton slapped me on the shoulder, saying that on purpose as he stood up. I looked back and forth a number of times between Barton and his electronic terminal. And then, finally, a connection breached inside my head. This was investment news. Speaking of which, when it was when it the next time it will rain here, there's usually nothing but bad news, depressing stuff. I'm not looking forward to Monday. Okay, interesting. So Barton actually give him some clues, but not actually talking straightforward what Hal should to do. Hmm. With his large chest sticking out, he muttered to himself, The excitement was enough to make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Insider information. This is insider information. Rainy days do put me in downer of a mood. Not a pleasant thing, right? Sorry, not a pleasant thing, right? Gordon winked at me. He acted so silly and out of character. If I were a girl, I'd fall for him. Well, how about some food? A new place that has some great fish. I stood up and lowered my head. Sorry, today isn't going to work. Um, right. A shame. But we can't meet anytime, can we? Right. Um, oh, it's already this late. I better make a phone call. Barton Smith asked aloud. If I think a word of thanks, I lowered my head once more. I'll mail you again. Ah, I'll be waiting. It'll rain on Monday. Do keep that in mind. So interesting. Hmm. So I guess I not really can understand this clearly, but I think he obviously say some company name. Well, insider information to Haru, or at least, or our show it in on his tablet. Um, so yeah. Hmm. And now I guess he gain clues what on Monday something going on with this company. But I guess we see. Yes, I responded and began to run before I turned back. I need to pay for the cacao. Whoa now, you're going to embarrass me like that? Sorry. Minor details, don't worry about it. They were aloof words. I ran through the elegant interior of the cafe. Many of the gentlemen and ladies wondered what was going on as they watched me go, but I paid no heed to Wu's eyes. Knowing else because my teacher, who stood on top of the table at the VIP seat, shouted out, "Good speed, young man. Grasp the future with your own hands." For the moment's reach to say something like that to a dumb brat in shabby clothing, it was a valuable thing. My chest was bursting with happiness as I continued to run. I ignored the eyes on onlookers as I ran, and down inside the coffee confines of a crowded train, I wanted to run. Hmm. I kinda really like this scene. Hmm. Or rather, I really like how exactly Barton decided to help to Haru. Not by just giving money, but more like giving opportunity. Anyway, I ran non-stop from the station to the church, and barreled through the sanctuary of the church straight into the living room. And then I spoke. I will show you my investing technique. Seeing me like that, Hagana's eyes became round as she looked at me blankly. Sunday, Hagana and I slept. We slept as much as possible. I gave detailed instruction to Lisa that she was to keep out anyone waiting on us for some good news on the situation. On Monday, everything was on the line. For that reason, we rested up to recover on our strength. That was all we could do. Saturday night we slept. Then Sunday morning we got up to eat, and afterwards went back to sleep. I mean, they slept a lot, but it makes sense since they already was exhausted by previous weeks with firstly investment contest and then trying to get some what we need they need for repaid debt. Anyway, I wasn't sure when Hagana crawled into my bed, but I didn't think much of that. I was fine with it since Hagana was relaxed too. In any case, we slept and slept, As if our two bodies had fused together somehow, we slept. Thus, as if someone knowing when exactly to wake up, the both of us woke up at the same time and found that it was just the start of Monday at midnight. Hmm, isn't it kinda too early? Hagan and I looked at the shower. I wasn't sure which of us woke up first, but for a brief moment, Hagan and I both held our breath. The feeling when our lips touched was softer and then sweeter than anything in this world. Oh, okay, didn't expect this. Hmm. I mean, it's good, but is it right decision since Hagaru actually wanted to leave after everything gonna be done, or learning from Barton? I mean, it's still a big question if he actually need to leave, because mostly Barton just didn't want from for Haru working with Quant, which Hagana. Hmm. Well, I guess we see in the end of this episode, or maybe even this stream. Anyway, at the same time, we said nothing. Instead, we decided with little trouble what to do after we got up. Hmm. Well, I know that with Snow kinda liking arts, but I kinda feel first kiss that they actually can, that they should make art, but okay. Carlisle investment. Hmm. Do you know his name? I'm not sure. Is it was bring it up when Barton showed Haru the city and his techniques, or if it's something completely new, but he just give him information right now. Anyway, Sarah sat at her chair. She said that while starting up her terminal, I wondered if this was Hagana's way to get energized. She grasped her hair like she was going to curl it, then brushed it before letting that beautiful black hair flutter down. Yeah, at my words, Hagana brought up the stock information. This one, while looking, sitting next to Hagana, squeezed out each word. Short salad. Hagana said nothing. Instead, she opened her program, and putting all her effort to supporting me, she started manipulating and calculating figures. Mm. Barton pointed to the stock while mentioning that it would rain on Monday. On top of that, suddenly there was news about rain. Without a doubt, it was insider information. And with regards to this company, there was some bad news flowing. Someone like Barton would have some connection to many in hundreds of companies. I should certainly be listening on thousands of people and what they had to say, especially since Monday comes right after the weekend. Then bad things are prone to happen. There have been situations such as a superior CEO taking one of his company's own manufacturer's bikes and running it off a cliff to his death. Naturally, a company losing a great leader would lead to the stock hitting the lower valuable price limit. You wouldn't know what would happen. That is why there are many cases of price drops the day before the weekend. Everyone would close positions that were in danger of any risk. Given that, this is probably the best company then. As the name suggested, Carlyle Investment was an investment company. Whatever it was, securities, real estate, of commodities, if it could be traded, Then they dealt in it with a lack of really fidelity. Fidelity. Hmm. There were not ac- accurate details from them. Based on that, it was unclear what, if anything, might happen. Okay, is there any chance that this company can be somehow connected with people who trying to uh, uh, who trying to get land from people? Probably not. There were not accurate details from them. Based on that, it was unclear what, if anything, might happen. Annual earnings were not stable. With one year reaping in enormous profits and the next year take a big loss, it was common for them to say that they made consecutive large profits. That is why, for a gambling enterprise such as them, they drew out those who enjoy gambling. On Hagana's program, it displayed jaw-dropping price fluctuations. Terrible company. So it seems, but it is really sensitive to trading. Looking at the screen from one side of Hagana, I could see her collarbone. The word sensitive actually gave me a bit of a jolt. I felt like smacking my head for being an idiot, while Hagana tilts her head with a question mark over it. If we sell it all at once, I think it will drop. Ah, that will be good enough. We only have one day to trade after all. If it drops at that time, then that's good enough. But, but, will this really work? She asked worriedly. I suppose anyone would be in doubt and wonder if my head was on straight if I suddenly came back in high spirits and declared that I knew which stock will drop tomorrow. On top of that, I didn't clearly understand what information I had received, as most of that was certainly grounded in insider information. Since I was a minor, I didn't think I would be judged by the penal code, but if I did get caught, then I most likely couldn't return to the normal investment world. Hmm. But there is no way I would get caught. Also that I won't get caught. Frankly, there are much worse things happening in society. Okay, these things kinda sound as a red flag, but okay. I will undertake it. In God's name, Helen frowned. You can loud. Imprudence. I feel that was a rather elegant word for Hagana to use. But this is difficult. Difficult. Yeah. Till the news come first things in the morning. But that wouldn't be in time. Couldn't make money if it hit the store floor if the orders entered before trading. Pardon would know about something like that. If that were the case, it may come right in the middle of trading. Thinking in normal terms, it would be best if the start of trading would coincide with the commencement on full trend selling. However, instead of wild price fluctuation, Real Investors day-to-day trade volume was low. Compared to the funds I wanted to trade with, the trade volume was overwhelmingly low. This was a return to the last day of investment contest. If there is a large sell-off, then price will be low. So naturally, the volume will drop. For example, if you sold 700,000 moles worth of stock valued at 1,000 moles a share, if buy orders at 1,000 moles a share amounted to only 10,000 moles total, my order would clear at a lower price. Hmm. If liquidity were low, then the price will move due to your trading. It was possible for a price to hit close to the daily limit for a price drop. Not to mention, it was more likely the case after negative news come out. I would be on at my wit's end if right after selling the daily limit for price drops was reached. In the end, in theory, all that could be done was to sell bit by bit. I had my worries and misgivings about it, but time continued to move on unabated as the market opened. In order to not cause the buyers to scatter, we sold off shares stealthily. If there were a big drop, it had to happen after we sold big. Sagana was not aware of this insight. Carlisle Mason's starting price was 1072 moves, but at the start of trading, it didn't move for the most part. It wasn't because of the news or any major changes in the market either, so one could say that it was only natural. Sorry. Plus, if I sold 10,000 moves worth, I'd wait 10 minutes. For 5,000 moves worth, I'd wait 5 minutes. I didn't know when the news was going to come out, and it was putting my stomach into knots. Agana was fidgeting next to me like she wanted to go to the bathroom. Quickly, if I was gonna sell, I'd have to sell more. But I continued to use prudence as I sold. Doing that through the morning, I sold up to 220,000 moves worth. At this point, it was the highest trade volume amount in a month. Most likely, people should have taken notes on the net. How much left? 500,000 moves. This is taking forever. But the news didn't come out during the afternoon recess, and the increase in volume was soon detected as people started to gather. Buyers lined up with their government funds, while there were sellers other than ourselves lined up with orders as well. Alongside the afternoon opening, intending to take advantage of the sell-off, in one stroke I had a short sale of 70,000 moves. As if pressing on some elastic rubber, after making a slight dent, the buyers came in and the price returned to its starting point. Logically speaking, there was no reason for the price to drop, so the buying did not seem strange at all. Holding my earners in check, I ignored the other sellers. This time, after 30 minutes, I sold off 50,000 moves worth. There was still half of it remaining. The price fluctuation held in place miraculously with little change compared to the previous day. The time had just reached 2 o'clock. Was it about time for the news to come out? Or could it be that it would arrive after trading ended? I really didn't know when business news would come out. If it were an announcement of the settlement of accounts, then the announcement would be made after the market closed in the case of companies trying to cause chaos. But frequently, that information got leaked to journalists who publicize that information, and I hope that won't be the case here. No matter what time the news was announced, hopefully it would be that. If it was something like a bolt out of the blue, then maybe it'd be appropriate to say God only knows. After that, I sold them 40,000 moves and crossed over the halfway mark. The strange feeling. This is my first time trading like this. Kakana's words, I looked up. The living room was as it usually was, but she was right that it did seem weird. She said that she really didn't want to watch how things unfolded today, and had stepped out. Due to that, perhaps it was too quiet. I don't know. Is this training? Hannah asked. She was probably this talkative due to the unbearable tension. Yes, it's a matter of training that I have seen in Newton City. An hour by appeared, and 10,000 moons worth was sold. Our selling appeared, but as expected, the buys became unsteady. Perhaps the pace was a bit too quick. I thought for a moment. Hey Hal. Hannah called my name and looked at me. Hal gazed at me. What? Hal, are you going to live here? We're going to talk about this now. To be clear, I thought that, but to Hagan that might have been the most important matter. That were the case, that couldn't just then I could just ignore it now. I looked back at the computer while nodding. Ah, our hour. In exchange for following him, he shared that bit of information for me. Hannah was a bit speechless. It occurred to me that I had chosen my words incorrectly. Hagan had been sold off on Earth. Ah, no, but I learned from him, and when I turned to leave, he stood up on a table, and that's how he told me. An hour 50,000 moons sold. The price dropped, then returned quickly. He said, Godspeed, young one. The key to winning the future in your hands. I really was happy at that. It was in a place people could see, not to mention in the cafe of high-class hotel. He is a really good person. More than Lisa? Hagan asked. Ah, compared to Lisa? Well, the genres are totally different. Genre? Like the genre or something. During the time I was talking, another 70,000 moons was sold. 510,000 moons sold. Due to the rate of price drop, soon it would be within range. But buyers retreated slowly from the battlefront. They did not lose their fighting spirit. The stock price continued to resist at 1,064 moons. That should be cut off buying. How much it was before? Not like I completely understand what's going on, but it's kind of just interesting. Okay. Unfortunately, we can read. The already too late for it, but okay. Because he's a male? Yeah. Well, what if the person was female? You shouldn't ask such a question like that. I thought as I chucked a bit. What's so funny? Nothing. If he was female... Thinking about a female version of Barton did make me laugh. If that were the case, then Lisa. Really? Hagana said in relief. What was that all about? As I asked, Hagana said that this quickly, quietly. I don't want you to leave. She did not hesitate. It was one of two possibilities. Either she'd had her emotions, or she wouldn't. That couldn't be effective. I can't. As I answered, 80,000 moons were sold. As expected, the buying side was now agitated. The price got over the 1060 wall. Nevertheless, everything was as agreed at 590,000 moons. All that was left was 130,000. For the sake of your dream, Hannah asked, right. Lucky. Hannah quietly looked at me, almost like a child would. I want that toy too. Your eyes said that to me. But it wasn't the right sort of place for Hagana. I remembered when Barton turned down my request for funds. That was not a righteous route. If possible, I want Hagana and Lisa to never know such a place as that in their lifetimes. It'd be good if you had dreams of your own. I prepared a 30,000 moon sell order. I'll grab that hand. Hmm? What is it now? You aren't going to find that dream in my hand, you know. I said that with a strained smile. Hagan's face stiffened. What? It's here. Huh? It's here. Anna repeated herself like a stubborn child and squeezed my hand. Hmm. Is it your confession in love? Or something? The screen showed the beginning of the tug war between sellers and buyers. The advantage tilted towards the sellers. Ah, okay. I guess I misunderstood. With the explosion in trade volume, the persistent sell-offs were beginning to draw people in who were suspicious that maybe some sort of negative news was going to come out. I didn't know where they were going to announce details about the stocks, not restricted to the main news outlets. If industry-oriented media were to make an announcement, there would also be a possibility that an announcement would happen at seminars geared towards institutional investors. That both had in common was that at that moment, whenever that announcement was made, it would then affect the stock prices. That was why it was normal to wonder if such information may come out where one would least expect it, then there's a chance of turbulent price fluctuations. Okay. The sellers were on the offensive. Now was the only time to sell, but I didn't move. Now she seemed powerless. In the grasp of Hagana's hand, I couldn't move much. Or maybe I don't misunderstood. I just was thinking what the science started speaking about this uh, actually information about whatever going on with Hyper, but okay. There is. Here. As Hagana said that, she looked up. Those weren't lightless dark eyes. Um, they were powerful eyes that sought one hopes. I want to. Hannah earnestly withstood the urge to cry, as she said, and as she said it, live in peace with everyone. The lunar service was a place where people had the wildest of dreams. But it was a place where many people lived who couldn't even enjoy the bare minimum of happiness. Agalas was one of them, and this girl, a dream was to live in peace with everyone. It was so natural, but simultaneously so difficult. Just searching through my memory, could recall many examples like that. There were probably very few people faces that Hagana could remember. Her hand, uh, uh, her head was filled to the brim with mathematics, with no room for anything else to absorb. First on that list of faces was Lisa probably, and my name was in there as well. I looked back at Hagana, and her face became strained as she looked downcast. Perhaps my face was one of those as well. Perhaps it was within reason to be able to live together with ours. But to live in peace was absolutely impossible. Becoming her burden, Cladwisery denied my request. It was very clear to me. Investors did not make their living investing. It, person- it personified people who lived only for investing above anything else. For someone like me, ignorant in the ways of society, if I were to live the way that Barton did, for starters, I'd be well aware that danger lay in the wait for me. Betrayal and schemes, that was everything to people, perhaps. Jumping straight into the world, I would feel insecure about being able to bask in the sun with Lisa in the garden on the third floor. And I would think I shouldn't even be doing something like that. Being an investor was a lifestyle. If one wanted a warm, milk and honey way of life, then this was certainly not the path to take. I couldn't shake off Hagana's hand and pulled mine gently from it. I must decline. I said it softly, much as Barton said it to me. I put out a 30,000 mole sell order. During their state of reduced activity, the price fluctuation reacted in response. The value of the 10th digit was 1050 was scaled, going up to 1051 moles a share. I will make these profits and go to Schrodinger Street. The stock price would drop little by little at times, like someone losing their footing while climbing a set of stairs. 6 carrying 20,000 moles. Worth had already been sold, and at that point the profits were starting to reach 10,000 moles. Cost it out. It was really only a small change. I still my nerves. I wasn't bluffing when I said I consider it small change. But I was worried that with the several tens, nay, hundreds of billions of moles who controlled their future, I would rise above the money and imagine gazing upon something no one else had ever seen. Just as Barton had said, finding who's in need, collecting interest as a form of gratitude was something that a boring division within a boring bank should do. In that case, Hannah uttered whose words. Yeah? In that case, make money. At the very least, make money. Hagana was angry. But at that moment, I realized that there was something to be happy about even when her expression was angry. I'll make money. I'll make heaps. I turned my gaze to the computer screen. In my mind was the powerful figure of Barton giving me a pep talk while standing on top of that cafe table. This here is the way they trade on Schrodinger Street. It blew past everything. There it was mathematical assistance or even intuition through experience. Insider? That wasn't it. This was an extreme way of training that only humans could do. Hagan's program was certainly impressive, but there was no room for human judgment. Cold and sharp, it was without equal. Humans who used that no longer had their human dignity, as it was reinforced that they should toss out the need to think. Half? That is why, when Hagan suddenly called out my name, my mouth floated by itself. The falling stock price stopped falling and changed direction. There was no rational reason why it dropped, then there was no reason at all for it to go up. It was the atmosphere, so to speak. It was all about the atmosphere. And I rose up from the screen as my chest sucked in that atmosphere. It will work. No matter where. What was left in my hands was a 20,000 mole sell order. As the buys went out, the stock price was like the main character of a story, always getting up no matter how many times he was knocked down, as it got up unsteadily. 1052, 1051, 1052, 1053. In a fictional world, the bad guy would only wait for the main character to stand up, but that was not true for reality. You take down who you could, when you could, completely. A similar believer in the philosophy of the investment was struck down mercilessly in one blow. 40,000 moles sold. I could almost see the faces of the buyers on the other side of the screen after their fruitless efforts. The stock price marched on down. 1052, 1051, 1050, and breached the insufficient defense as it continued to down to 1049, 1048. This was the downward pattern, and the sticking sellers came out. 1046, 1044, 1041, as it speed up. Even if there is no news, I'll get away with selling it all. Just when I thought it, I make a full power swing with the remaining 100,000 moles. Hal! Hannah's sharp voice stopped my hand, and right afterwards the stock price stopped moving. It wasn't because things were entering a state of reduced activity. The moment I saw it, the glimpse told me enough. During trading, when a rather large order came out, it would get stored up for a bit in order to stop an instantaneously large price fluctuation. It was almost like how everything in a cartoon goes into slow motion when someone uses a finishing move. And then, when it got accumulated, it becomes something like a time bomb that you knew had a delayed explosion. At 1000, at 1038 moles, like molten magma, a massive buy came. The total amount of 230,000 moles was like a massive meteorite slamming into a planet, taking everyone with it, and that amount continued to grow. Was a sell off coming? If so, then I was going to make some buys. News related to Caroline investments still hadn't come out. So on. Angered by the rules was that was the sellers. Offensive put out a buy order aiming to raise the price. For as many as expected the price to go down, just as many expected it to go up. That was how market price took shape. Hmm. But it's kind of strange. Is Karu only one who have this insider information right now? Mhm. I mean, maybe it makes sense if information like this has only big guys like Barton, then they maybe not really care about this stuff because maybe mm, they can't make enough money for with this, unlike Haru. I mean, more I mean, money what they can make not gonna be large on for them. Anyway, I clung to my arm desperately. This was different from the time during the investment contest. This was real money was going to take a massive hit. The stock price crept up stealthily, and the overwhelming amount of money pushed it up. We were using margin selling, so when the price went up, the profits would disappear, and if we did something wrong, then we'd be at a loss. The people entering the buy orders were surely aiming for that scenario, but I didn't glance at Kagana at all as I quietly focused on the screen. I wasn't a bit flustered, since I had Barton's information. This is important if we wanted our order to completely envelop the buyer orders. No matter how much the price went up, if rain fell as Barton said it should, then it would hit the variable price limit. If it was a stock that seemed like a strong gamble, then even a trivial bit of news would be enough to cause its price to fluctuate wildly. Firstly, without a doubt, a limit on price drop would occur. It was were to happen. With more margin selling at higher prices, the profits would be higher than it returns to cheap buys. For someone like Agana, who built a foundation upon mathematics and statistics, it wasn't a stunt worth trying. Each time the price slowly crept up, Agana squeezed my arm with more strength. Mm, sorry. Okay. I was just trying to listen what the sound actually the game make because I kind of can't hear anything, but I see in OBS that there is a sound from the game. So as I can hear after making it a little bit louder for myself, it is um, heartbeat. But yeah, anyway. Uh, I already read it, but each time the price slowly crept up, Hagan squeezed my arm with more strength. The price surpassed 1060 and reached 1065 to 166, 165, 100, sorry, 1000, 1066, and 1067. It went opposite to how it was earlier while also changing at a faster rate. As we had exceeded our acquired funds, the losses were starting to appear. With the stock price now at 1071, we were minus zero from the day before. At the moment then the sellers and buyers were both on the offensive and defensive, resisting each other. And then, at that instant, the price started to climb up. Trade volume exploded, and the moment became extreme as more people caught wind of situation. Wind. Anyway, I did not panic. I was determined not to panic. But that was not the case for Hagana. Oh, something is weird. Huh? It's weird. Why? Is it not going down even with all that selling? Why do bad things keep happening? Was what she asked. Like an innocent girl. Hannah was used to misfortune. She dealt with a lot of struggles before. She was used to it. That was why she was not used to thinking about that would happen next. Dealing with the outcome was my duty. While I looked straight at the screen, I answered. It's only natural because the news hasn't come out. The conditions for sellers and buyers is 50-50. But I know that these stocks will go down. So no matter what it is necessary to sell early. Due to that, it dropped first. But no one else knows the information that I got a hold of. So they resisted by buying in response and it went up. That is only natural. Didn't I said before that trading was like rock paper scissors, where you saw someone move before ahead. This is especially true for stocks that attracted gambling types. One would be used to such speculative movement. But Hagan murmured as she let go of my arm. And then, slowly, she went to her terminal and fiddled with it. Hannah inputted the numbers in her program, and I looked at the initial calculations. I said it was impossible. But I told you, it wasn't this type of trading, right? When the stock price went up steadily with a speed that was anything but slow, it was natural to feel pressure. By looking at Hagana, who relied on that program, I started to feel scorn towards it. For a program that we relied that much on, it felt like an old run-down computer we could no longer use. And Hagana, who relied on it, was like a little girl who consulted her horoscope for everything. So it was clear to me that she wasn't the sort of partner I'd want to trade with anymore. Hmm, harsh. Give up already. It was difficult to see Hagana fall to that level, and I said that without an out. And then Hagana answered, "This is all that I can do." Her face was a mix of anxiety and nervousness. At my worst, her face was not that of cheeky girl who would absolutely refuted me. Where is the news? It's not coming, is it? I could see through that she was implying with whose reserved words, and I kept my mouth shut. The time was not now 4 o'clock. It was late, but there was still 1 hour to go. Well, it really is strange. I don't know why the price won't go down. I kept my mouth shut as Hagan continued. Where is the news? Just once more, so I had no choice but to respond. There isn't any. According to Lisa, the young would come precisely at 5 o'clock. He requested a bank employee he was friends with to keep the counter open a bit longer. According to the schedule, it ended at the same time as training ended, So all the money on hand would need to be withdrawn so the loan could be repaid. An hour left to go. In 1 hour, all will be decided. Fireworks came out again as I thought about that, and I could hear the sound of Hagana's breath getting taken away. As if she was looking at a tilted glass on the table, her breath slowed as she watched the price fluctuate. I knew that she was thinking, stop, 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 as she prayed. Without I believed Barton, at some point in time, I had clenched my fist so much that it dripped with sweat. Was I an idiot? And as I was criticizing myself, the stock price finally stopped at 1089. Hey, will it be alright? Can I ask one more? She was nervous. Right as I was waving my palm, I responded, have some faith. That was all I could say. But the price has not gone down. Looking at any other period of time, such a statistical result is calculation error. I said that to stop Hagana from repeating the same thing again. I was more surprised that I interrupted Hagana than I was at her displeased expression. I became aware that my tone had become stronger. You said that there would be errors in the calculations. I did put words on to show that I wasn't angry. That is true. Then it must be that. Besides, I didn't say any more, but Hagana's program wasn't complete. It was wrong occasionally, especially during the last trades of the investment contest. Hagana's calculation was totally off the mark. In terms of the possibility, it was only natural. But this time, it was going to cost real money. There was real human cost for a large number of people. The fates of myself, Chris, and a lot of ours were at stake. If we failed here, a lot of people would be left out in the cold, going here from Earth, being oppressed by the strong, everything they owned got taken away through greedy thief, while only the ones who took away their stuff amassed a fortune. Right now, for the sake of the dreams of many people, I stood firm. Despite that, why couldn't Hagana trust me at all? Hagana's anxiety-filled face was getting darker and darker. Intermittently, she still glanced at me, wanting to say that it would be been best to just close out all positions. To be honest, if we stuck to the basics of training up until now, we would all stop training a while ago. For the sake of gaining profits, what was needed was simple don't have losers. That was why, if losers start to appear, positions would be closed. That way, loss would be kept at the absolute minimum, and the small amounts of profit could be preserved. But this wasn't that kind of trading. It wasn't that kind of trading. Why did Hagana not understand that? I was filled with irritation when I suddenly realized something. Look at Hagana as if to repel her again, and Hagana returned my look timidly. Hmm? Within my chest, the words couldn't be weren't in control. Couldn't be that Hagana had inadvertently said it. His training affected a great number of people's dreams. The dreams that good fortune had finally come down upon us was also affected. Thus, for myself, this was but as skirmish in order to enter Schrödinger Street. But Hakana was different. Hakana's dream was not affected. Hakana's dream was for myself, Lisa, probably Chris, and anyone else close to her, to be able to quietly live together in this church. He could say that it wasn't greedy. He could say that it was idyllic. Idyllic. Uh, I know this word, but let me check how to pronounce it. Mhm. Idyllic. Yeah, but it wasn't even funny that for such a trivial dream, Hagan's horoscope was right within view. That were the case. Then didn't Hagan think that way? What if we were to fail here? That would not leave her. A was B, and whose if B was C, then A had to be C. Hagan's straightforward thought process meant that this was more than a clear possibility. It was a childish and pitifully awkward way of thinking. Time continued to move on, and soon it was 4:50. I still had a sell order in reverse. When I knew that the price would finally drop, if the price only went up, only selling would lead to bigger profits. But Hakana accepted my hesitation. Hal. Hakana called my name. It was an anxious voice that sounded like it would be crushed. But I pretended like I didn't hear her. I sympathize with Hakana's simple dream here. What if I didn't go with the best investment, at the best time, with the best technique, then I couldn't be an investor. I wouldn't be an investor. I stared at the screen. Hakana no longer stole looks, and I was painfully aware that she was looking right at me. Al, shut up. I yelled at her unintentionally. Hannah did not narrow her eyes. Her eyes were like fools of a scalded puppy. My bad. I said it as I returned to the screen. The news wasn't coming. When? Then would it come out? The buy orders tricked in one by one. Was it coming? Why wasn't it coming yet? Hannah worked slowly at her terminal. I stole a glance at her and saw that the expected price range had taken on irregular shape. Wasn't this estimates a severe increase was predicted. My eyes returned to the computer. It was true that, given the circumstances, I would have started making buys. But big trades were always like that. In order to make big profits, it was necessary to make moves opposite of those of the idiotic masses. Masses. Sorry. Just I constantly see what on in browser on page with I have in with live stream. There's constantly something changing, but I can't actually catch what it is, like something moving. I actually seen it now. Strange. Oh, not constantly see, but I see something. There's some number, like big number, what for some reason disappear from screen from time to time. I just constantly see it in my side view. I think it's viewers watching us. Strange. I mean, it's not like super important. It's all numbers is zero. Just I don't understand why it's disappearing sometimes. Anyway. It's not important, so let's continue reading. By the way, it's kinda interesting. I think it still should appear here, because I don't know. I kind of feel like it's gonna be strange if they gonna lose again in the end of this episode. But still. As I sometimes already said, one reason why I delay the stream from Saturday, previous Saturday, was the reason. Reason was what I was a little afraid that this episode gonna have a bad aging, So it is possibility that they gonna lose. Hmm. Or maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, let's continue. When it came to buying and selling, you couldn't have one without the hour. Just as one person making a profit would require an hour taking a loss. I was not wrong. This was not wrong. The ones who were wrong were the unknowing masses, waiting for who's capable of thinking. I was waiting after all. I thought I looked at Hagana as she tried to get my attention. I knew that she was thinking. The time hit 4:30, which left us with 30 minutes. Then was the news going to come out? Surprisingly, I was also growing impatient. So, I brought up Barton's mail address and typed out a single sentence. Was this really going to work? When I was about to send it, I hesitated. Hmm? At that point, a single chime sounded. The sound was from Hagana's program. I had gotten used to this sound. The sound was when the specified price range was hit in the program. It was the sound that signaled the count of countless profits. And the moment I heard it, I was on the verge of tears. With my timid, with my timidity eliminated, I closed the email program and returned to the trading screen. I couldn't believe that I was seeing. Hal! Hagana yelled. I could feel the world revolving. Hal, you should hurry and trade. I couldn't hear any of the words after that. The price had jumped up. A sound rang out, then the price was within range of the estimate fluctuation. But so far, it would always veer away from what was hoped for, so it was natural that the price would fluctuate in the hour direction. In other words, it was headed towards a big loss. It's fine. It should be fine. If the news, so long as the news come in. My shaky hand grabbed my other shaking hand. If that remained, I made a sell order in one move. The stock price upward movement stopped. I thought I would laugh, but loss had exceeded 4%. No, this was no more than a temporary thing. It looked more like it should have been on one step towards big profits rather than just selling because the price was high. But I questioned myself. But if I really believed in Barton from the bottom of my heart, then I should continue to wait till the price goes higher and higher, and then sell. But why wasn't it possible? Why weren't the things playing out rationally? From the chair I could feel my eyes looking sober, anywhere away. My self-confidence was falling apart. The time. What time was it? 4:45. 15 minutes left. The stock price once again started moving upwards. Helen stood up and grasped my shoulders. Hal, something is wrong. Shut up. It should go down. It should have gone down. But it's going up. Can't you see? It should go down. It should have gone down. Hannah backed away at my yelling, but she picked up her terminal and thrust it in front of me. There's no possibility of it going down, whatsoever. Statistically, that possibility is. Don't you remember that we lost during the Mason contest because we followed your program? Ouch. Whose words slipped out suddenly. Hans' face looked as if whose words pierced her heart as she started backward. With a thump, her body gave in, and she collapsed to the ground. She was completely expressionless, as if she were a mannequin. Mm, damn it. I cursed at no one in particular, as I bit my lip and returned to the screen. News. Where was it? If only the news would come. Dear Lord. I prayed. I had prayed. I prayed to God. And then it was 4:47 in the afternoon. On the trading screen, the words news announcement appeared. At that moment, I might peed my pants briefly. My hands moved, putting together all that reminded of the funds, remembering it was time to sell it all off. My mind was filled with a strange sense of impatience, nervousness, and even drunkenness as my knees started to shake. I made it. I made it in time. I was right after all. As I caught my breath, the red text on the news announce disappeared, and the news itself rolled in. The training screen stopped. Everyone that was involved in training held their breath, and the numbers on the training screen stopped moving completely. Hmm. News announcement. Stock number 3, 3201. Carlisle investment. Harry, Harry, next, what's next? I started, I started intentionally at the screen, while my body could only react as if there was only bad news to be had. And then the red text continued to scroll by. Today, Carlisle Investment CEO Jack Larry announced a joint business venture with an investment fund with regards to investment for the redevelopment project of the sixth outer section. Hmm? I could not grasp the meaning of those words. Ah. Given doubts about maintaining liquidity, he expressed confidence at the press conference that working capital was more than plentiful. What I didn't understand about the meaning in those words was that it wasn't clear just how those words could be utilized. I wasn't sure if it was deluge of sweat of tears that I wiped away as I looked at the news once more. Hmm. Capital was provided by Mr. Alan Schwartz, a fund manager at the notable investment fund Pax Ravana. Over 2 billion of moves were provided, forming the basis for the redevelopment project. I couldn't continue reading after that. All I could do was breathe. The stock price continued to go up until it hit the daily limit. Minus 32%. On top of that, this is for just today. If everything in the news was correct, then tomorrow and the day after that, surely the price would hit the daily limit each time. How much more were I lose going to extend to? If there was nothing to sell, then nothing could be bought back. When it came to margin selling, there were conditions involved if one tried to buy it all back at the later time. I was hit with strong bout of nausea. But I swallowed deeply. I steadied myself. I cycled the news once more. Impossible. There is absolutely has to be a mistake. Please, let them be talking about different stock. I opened up the news announcement. I couldn't swear. I heard my heart stop. I wonder if that was how it was supposed to sound. Picture 1. CEO Jack Larry and Mr. Alan Schwartz. There was all the captions stated. But the one picture there was, without a doubt, Barton. Ah, hmm, interesting. I wasn't sure if that was breathing or groaning. What I knew, what I knew was a sound signaled the arrival of email. Like a trained dog, or perhaps a programmed robot, opened the email. The sender was Barton. You thought with your brain and read it. Did you not? A short, single sentence. Did I think it through myself? Had I not let it to someone else to help me decide? Had I not left such an important decision for someone else to decide for me? Think less like a machine. Think like a human. The purpose of that was my vision became dark, and I heard the sound of my head hitting my computer screen. Hal! And then I thought I heard Hagan's voice, and that was the last thing I remembered. Ah, okay. Hmm. I mean, we had suspicion, but still, I didn't expect this. And Hmm. Is Barton is actually fake name. And as we know now, actually Barton connected with everything that's going on. But well, he deceived Haru. It also feels a little how if he tried to give him a lesson, but I'm not sure. Kinda, well, maybe I'm wrong, but don't know. I found out about everything 4 days after I had fallen into a coma. In the end, our position was at a minus 264%, pushing towards truth with 720,000 moves, and ending at minus 264%, left us with a liability of 2 million moves. There was no point in talking about paying back loans. In the end, the saying of the townspeople was wiped out, and they were burdened with a debt that they absolutely could not pay. But after Lisa's unhurried explanation, it appeared that it was all reduced to 50,000 moles. In the evening of the day after I collapsed, apparently the phone rang. A man who addressed himself as Barton wanted to liquidate our margin sale position by giving us some stock at a specific value. Bought at that price, the loan ended up at 50,000 moles. Carlisle Mason stocks continued to hit the daily height price limit consecutively and couldn't be sold at all. Since the price continued to rise the next day, there was no way that such a proposition would be turned down. Hannah, who knew Barton's name from the mails on my computer, decided vigorously, but Lisa accepted the terms. Everything was back to normal. Or rather, it was better to say that everything was lost. As for Chris Fowler and all of the hours who entrusted us with their money, I had thought that they would all come by to kill me, but instead they visited me in hospital room. And on top of that, they thanked me for letting them dream of the possibilities. That hurt me more than having abusive words hurled at me. They were used to losing, used to falling into despair. And they were strong enough to not bear any ill will towards ours. If it weren't for Lisa, I would probably be dead right now. On the other hand, I realized that I couldn't see Haganah anywhere. Haganah had been in the church the whole time, and it appeared that she, too, had been rather rugged. I had taken a lot of emotional shock, and my body wasn't able to move. As I regained consciousness, I did not return right away. It wasn't until 10 days later that I returned pathetically to the church in a wheelchair. Yeah, and this is the image what I seen in game files, and why I expected a bad ending. But yeah, until this moment, even if I seen this image, I have no idea what this image is about. Yay. He's over to Vilmi. That day, the weather was nice on the moon, nicer than any easygoing day. Along the road, he said something nonchalantly. The church. I've decided to sell it. I didn't so much as a move. There's still the loan money to deal with. If I just told that I could, it would take care of everyone's living expenses too. And if tears formed in my eyes, I did not have the strength to show any sadness. But I'm glad we made it in time to get you discharged from the hospital. And well, I figured it would be a good time for lunch too. Chris may come by as well. Charlotte is going to prepare food himself too. He thinks he is so smart after I taught him how to cook. He's continuing with small talk. She wasn't faking being happy, and knowing that hurt quite a lot. For Lisa and the hours, this has been an everyday thing back on Earth. Just being alive was more than enough, right? And she had experienced being able to say things like that with a smile. Gerald looked into things. And just like that, Lisa changed subjects. Barton, he said, would always do those kinds of things. And when his company got taken over, Barton was one of the people behind the curtains. Gerald said that he had harbored a lot of resentment long ago, and seemed about to suffer divine punishment at any moment. But Gerald said he doesn't go in for the killing blow. When he called us, he probably not trying to pin us against the wall or anything, Gerald said. Is that what you call kindness? I'm not so sure myself now. Lisa laughed once more. Her laugh was mingled with a sigh, a very fatigued laugh. There are all sorts of people in this world. Yeah, that's really is true. Couldn't say for sure that I had been deceived, only because I myself wasn't ready to acknowledge that. Couldn't, couldn't it have been a misunderstanding, or perhaps even a mistake? But, in reality, everything was lost. Barton apparently used different aliases for different purposes. Even the census showed each of whose aliases. He was the example of a person who could do anything so long as money and personal connection were available. I had miscalculated my own position. Thus, I took a great loss. I was willing to accept that. I was just some brat after all. But well, we do have our bonds left over. Isn't that so, Hal? He reached around from behind me and pinched my cheek. I could not move my body, nor I could change my facial expression. He signed. Are you mad that I contacted your family? He asked me. You passed by the front of the Steven Band shop. That was there. The old lady gave me an extra because she thought that Chris was too skinny and asked me to give her one. Without doubting me once, she had handed me a 3-mule bun. I was surprised by that. Yet, why did I think Barton would so easily divulge information worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions of moles? This was hubris. Since it's you, I'm sure you will get better. That's what Lisa said. I said it was something physiological. The bruise on your forehead is probably going to leave a mark now. But your guy, after all, scars as a badge of honor. I would not respond. It was explained to me that the doctor had said it wasn't because of medical reasons that I couldn't move. Supposedly, some wiring within my mind had come undone. Because of that, I couldn't make myself move, and I couldn't even make facial expressions. Moreover, Lisa did her best to convince the doctor to hide my identity. There were medical bills to deal with, so that was impossible. After my identity had been extracted via iris scan and fingerprinting, my family was soon notified. I wasn't angry with Lisa at all. I wouldn't have any qualms, even if Lisa killed me. Well, I'm going to feed you plenty today. No need to feel embarrassed about it, okay? She giggled. Her laugh seemed dry. In front of the church, Gerald and Chris waited, as did Tayama. Aside from how I was, I didn't imagine I would see them again. But, just like people visiting someone at the hospital, they were all smiles. A gathering of losers. Now that was I thought. I couldn't help but feel very happy to see them waiting for me. Now then, everyone, let's go to the garden on the 3rd floor. At these words, everyone headed towards the 3rd floor. I'm gonna let you thoroughly enjoy my lap pillow service. Said that as we passed through the living room. A wonderful smell wafted through the living room, making me wonder if it was the lingering smell of food being made. And then, just when we got to the 2nd floor, Chris ran off to get something. I need to get the drinks. Thanks for the help. Be careful. Oh, looks like you are getting used to this, aren't you, Chris? He shrugged her shoulders and smiled, Both her arms filled with drinks as she moved carefully. Ah, where is Hagana? At least the question, Chris stopped climbing the steps, then walked back down slowly. And then she pointed at the door to her room. Lisa nodded. Chris' face stiffened somewhat as she started climbing the stairs again. She can be a difficult child. Lisa said that it was clear that she didn't really believe her own words. That's how I felt anyway. Hannah wasn't a difficult person. She was honest and straightforward, but just awkward. Hagana. Hagana. Lisa did it on purpose as she knocked on her door. Hannah did not respond. Yes, it's Hal. Hal is come home. Lisa said that there was still no response. Lisa looked back at me and shrugged her shoulders. Hagana, I opened the door. And with that, she opened the door. Last time that door was opened, it was night. It was the time Hagana had a screaming match with Tayamu, and then she had elbowed Lisa in the face. Hagana had caught into a ball in the corner of her room, and shook all over. This time, it was the same as the fire from before. She was alright, wasn't she? I imagined she was alright. Hagana wouldn't break before something like that. Fought together, there's no way she would be this weak. But there was a deliberate discomforting pain in my heart. Without a doubt, Hagana did not stop training for the sake of her own dreams. Through it all, she stayed rational. The one who thought with her head was Hagana after all. Despite that, I rejected Hagana. At the last moment, I rejected her. For that, I wanted to apologize. Huh? As Lisa murmured that, I came to my senses. Lisa turned away from the door and walked past me before heading to the living room. She opened and closed the door to the bathroom, then headed towards the church. The door to Hagana's room was left open as it was. Before long, with a stiffened face, Lisa passed me again and ran up the stairs. So, Hagana is run away. But for what exactly is she trying to do? In the middle of this fine day, I was left alone. Beyond that half-open door, there was but empty space. I sat in the wheelchair and closed my eyes. Al, I recalled Hagana's voice and how she addressed me. Hagana. In the end, that was her real name anyway. In the midst of this fine day, with this pain in my heart, I felt lightheaded. Hannah had disappeared from the church. My teenage years, like that, came to an end. The stock market that day, with no regard to our own circumstances, should have been busy. Okay. So we indeed finished it today, and as expected, we get bad ending for this episode. But good thing there is 2 more episodes. So let's hope at least third episode gonna be ending on happy note. I really hope we don't gonna get copyright strike, but at least we don't get from opening, so I hope everything gonna be okay. Okay. So, yeah. Hmm. I believe this is new ones. I didn't remember it. But okay. So, we finish this episode. Um, so obviously it's all for today. Um, so, which mean on Saturday actually not gonna be a World Economic stream, but instead of this we're gonna continue playing Tiny Snow. Probably. Let me think. Just one problem. I'm not sure how much streams we actually need for finishing Tiny Snow, which make planning making shells a little bit hard. Well, it's not. Okay, it's gonna take some time. A moment. I try to understand. Mm, mm. Okay, so it's something around 9 or maybe 10 hours long, at least from what I can see from an our YouTube video. Yeah, just I kind of find it hard to understand how much speed in this video, how much we actually read it, or at least how fast compared with this video. But yeah, let's consider what it around 10 hours, which means we need 2 streams. Why 2? 5 streams. Okay. So yeah, I guess it's okay. So we're gonna continue reading Tiny Snow on this Saturday. Then I guess next week it's still gonna be Tiny Snow, and then we probably gonna finish it on a week after the next one, and then we start reading World End Economica, episode 2. But yeah, anyway, it's all for today. Goodbye. Have a nice time of the day.